Welcome back to Casual Conversations with Chevs and Dragnat. Wow, amazing, man. Her name's Jocelyn, 10 years old.
Yeah, man, she's absolutely brilliant,
Oh, it
and
is.
a lot of people might not recognize the song. It's a very very old song. It basically came to famousness again most recently. One of the most popular versions is out of the movie Schindler's List. It's where Liam Neeson, who plays Oscar Schindler, actually goes into a cafe for the first time he arrives in the capital. It's a brilliant piece of music. It's just so emotive, so emotive. You can apply any emotion to that type of music.
Yeah.
It's very beautiful music.
Yeah, very emotional.
And how's your week been, mate? How's everything going over at your side of the world?
So. All right. Just health-wise,
So,
back
all
issue.
right.
Yeah.
You're all still fucking alive over there.
Yeah.
Taken down by anybody?
Not yet.
Not yet. It's getting close. It's getting close. It's getting close. Jessica Yaniv and her. She's coming. She's coming. She reminds me of the chupacabra. The South Park chupacabra. Snooky. Snooky.
Chupacabra.
Off of South Park.
Oh,
Great,
okay,
great show.
yeah. Chupacabra. That's the Mexican thing.
That's
yeah.
the Mexican
Yeah.
Bigfoot or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, mate, I woke up this morning, all right, as usual, pretty good day, and I opened, the local bullshit papers here to see what's happening in the world of propaganda. And I read an article today that really, really pissed me off because it's a very clear indication that social justice warrior ism is very, very now coming into effect in Australia. Before we didn't really have this much. It was more along the lines of, mate, you don't have my opinion. I don't give a shit. We can turn around and walk away. It doesn't matter. We can still have a beer. We can still have a barbie. We don't agree with each other. That's fine.
So it's almost sounding like the culture's changing a bit.
It is, and it's bad. It's bad, and the reason I say it's bad is I was reading this article today, and we're Australians. We love our comedy. Melbourne specifically loves their comedy. They've got the Melbourne Comedy Festival, all right, which is probably in the top 5 in the world. You've got the Montreal Comedy Festival, which I'm sure you've heard about. You've got the Edinburgh Comedy Festival, which is another very very big one. You've got the Melbourne one. Well, I was reading today that a comedian actually had to withdraw from the art, from the performance, okay?
And that's in Australia?
In Australia,
yeah.
Because of an open letter. An open letter signed by more than 70 people, okay, claiming that it's a white lady. She does a show called Aisha the Geisha, which is Aisha the Aussie Geisha, which is about the first non-Japanese geisha.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and they claim it borders on yellowface and revolves around the belittling and insulting depiction of Asian peoples for cheap humor. Now, that's fucking ridiculous. All right.
Oh, I agree.
Yellowface. It's fucking insane. All right.
Blackface, what? But you can put on a white face. That's okay. That's okay.
What was the name of that guy? He played. Mickey Rooney played the Asian bloke. Oh, me so sorry. The Asian restaurant. It's a fucking character.
It's exactly. I know comedy. Like Twitter's gone nuts too. Like the comedians apologizing for making jokes. That's jokes they made 10 years ago.
It's comedy.
Exactly. But they're apologizing for jokes they made 10, 15 years ago now because of these social justice warriors.
It's total and utter bullshit.
Yeah.
It is total and utter bullshit. You could
go to jail here in Canada for saying the wrong things on stage.
Yeah, see, I don't agree with that. I
don't agree with it either, but that's the corporation's rules.
Let me make my stance very very clear. Okay, I don't go to see the Dalai Lama to hear about gun control. I don't go to listen to my child's primary school teacher. I don't ask her for advice when it comes to financial markets. You know, I don't go to a comedy show if I don't know what I'm going to get into. I'm going for comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going for a social justice warrior speech on fucking the rights of...
Well, you got these social justice warriors going to these comedy shows now to shut these people down.
And it's just fucking bullshit. But it gets worse, all right? It gets worse when stories are changed. Okay? When there's a story and when there's a character and that character is fundamentally changed. And the reason I bring this up is because this has been pissing me off for the last couple of weeks, and I'm sure it's going to piss you off as well. The Little Mermaid, Ariel. I know you've heard the story. Okay? It's been around for a long time. It's a Danish story. Okay? Well, they're remaking the Little Mermaid. Okay? And they've cast the role of Ariel to an African-American woman.
Huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I have no problems. Okay, if the story allows for an interchangeable character, completely no problems with it. But when you're taking, Cinderella, who's blonde, blonde hair, blue-eyed, pale skin, and turning her into, say, a Chinese person, it doesn't make sense. She's not Chinese in the story. The story is Cinderella. The story of Little Mermaid is Little Mermaid. Okay, can you imagine if you had a white person playing Mulan?
Exactly.
Okay.
But
go on.
Yeah, if a white person's playing it, it'd be outraged. But it's the opposite. It's okay. It's okay.
The start of this fucking came about, right, when you had that the black child play Orphan Annie.
Yeah.
Okay, when they blackwashed Orphan Annie and moved Annie from being a pale-skinned, red-haired child to an African-American child, or to any type of, denomination.
When I woke up this morning, our news was white people apologizing for being white, and they're in these race wars, like, and the States and stuff. People are apologizing for being white. On Twitter and Facebook, I don't know. There's something going on about it. It was all over YouTube today.
Yeah. So what do you know about it?
Well, it's just I'm proud to be white.
So legitimately, like what's happening over there in relation to white people apologizing?
It's just dividing people. I don't understand their mindset. They're apologizing to be white. They're saying they're holding signs up saying sorry to be white. Like, it's just I don't get it myself. Like, I'm not at these protests, but
well, here's the thing. Here's something, and this is something that was written and it was written in a TV show called Rick and Morty. I don't know if you watch Rick and Morty. I'm a big fan of Rick and Morty. It's a great show. It's very well written.
Okay. It's old, right?
It's fairly recent. It's fairly recent.
Rick
Okay, they've only done a couple of seasons, but it's
else.
Pretty fucking huge. You really need to get back involved in this. There's a very, very pivotal episode called the Rick Landis Mix-Up. Okay, and it talks about an election. Okay, and one of the questions is the divide between people is becoming wider and wider. How do we fix this? And the candidate replies, the division I see between the Ricks and the Mortys, division I see between the Ricks and the Mortys that like the Citadel, divided, and the rest of us. Okay, so it's that's not the full quote. I've got to get the full quote up there. It's a brilliant full quote. But it talks about the fact that the only people who want to divide us
that's
are the
what
people
I believe.
that are
it's done by design, by the people in power. Left, right, white, blue, green. They're dividing people right now. See, they had what? How many years of Bush and Clinton, Bush? They're on the verge of a civil war after Obama, and then now they got somebody else in, and they think he's a CEO to a corporation, so he's only doing what the shareholders tell him. So he's only doing what he's told, and now they're on the verge of a civil war. So they got the people so divided. I've never seen this country so divided in my entire life on this planet.
Well, it's interesting because there's this whole thing about, California succeeding and becoming their own separate country and whatever. And theoretically, if that happened, they would have California would have the 5th largest economy in the world. Okay.
San Francisco's a dump right now, though. People are crapping on the streets. There's garbage everywhere.
It's all a fucking dump.
It used to be. I thought it used to be a nice place to visit.
Well, I mean, there were songs written about in the 60s and 70s. Yeah, if you go into San Francisco.
I just watched a thing now. It's like the 20th, 30th place in the world. I watched a document. There's people shitting in the streets. The shop owners got to clean the garbage every morning, and the cops just walk by. People pull down their pants or laying on the ground on the sidewalk. They're pooing in the sewers.
But is that an immigration issue or a social issue?
Probably overpopulation, maybe. Too many people going there. I don't know, but it could be. I don't live there. I'm only seeing what other people are reporting, right?
Yeah, yeah, and it's disappointing.
It is.
It's disappointing because I'm from Australia, as you know, and you're in Canada, and I've always heard, of how beautiful San Francisco is.
Yeah, that's
how the I don't know where in San Francisco is, but I always see images of the world's steepest street or whatever it is, and you do the little Z and you go up to the top.
I'll have to send you the link, and you'll have to watch this. It's heartbreaking. Because exactly, I thought the same thing as San Francisco my whole life until I watched this.
And to hear that's the case.
San Diego is, I think, turning the same way. They're just letting these people do needles on the streets. It's garbage piled everywhere, not cleaning it up. It's just turning into a dump.
Well, look, this then comes down to the social reform issues, doesn't it? Because you've got groups of people in that particular zone who believe that you should decriminalise all drugs.
I don't believe that.
No matter how hard or soft they are. Okay, and then you've got other people who are saying, no, this is not right. You're just going to have a problem. And then unfortunately, and this is, I don't know whether you want to claim this as a libertarian view, but the libertarians in California have basically got to the point where it's like,
the cops don't do nothing there? Because they just walk by, they don't do nothing.
It's more. I think it's more along the lines of the whole libertarian view of, if I'm not hurting anybody, if I'm hurting myself and not hurting anybody else, fuck you. You can't tell me what to do or say. But that's not how fucking society works. This is why I agree.
But
to some organisational structures, because you've got to have societies.
Yeah, I know. But just on a smaller scale, I believe. Like
small scale. I am all for smaller government.
A common law, not maritime law. See, we're under maritime law, not common law.
Yeah.
Law of the land. That's what we should be under.
But we don't do that.
No,
we don't do that, and we won't. We'll never live under the law, and that's going to be a conversation that you and I are going to dedicate a complete episode to, where we discuss. Because I'm not going to lie, I'm going to do absolutely no research into it, because I want to come as somebody who's got no fucking idea and question you about it.
Okay.
Why this? Why this? Why this? And that's just because that's the best way for people to learn.
Exactly.
If I come in and I'm completely, I know all about it, and I'm talking to you about it, we're both knowing what we're talking about, and some people aren't going to understand it.
Exactly.
All right?
But that's a good idea.
It's going to be something interesting. Now, I don't know if you heard about this. Cardinal George Pell had his appeal yesterday. Now, George Pell is one of Australia's highest ranking Vatican official. Was Australia's highest ranking Vatican official. Last year, he was convicted of 6 counts of child exploitation stuff. Okay, it wasn't bad. It wasn't rape. It was oral, and then sexual perversion in the presence of a minor. Just crap. Now, as somebody I followed this quite closely. And the appeal was yesterday. Now,
the name
subsequently,
rings a bell. It's probably from the news, though. Maybe I don't.
He got 6 years. He got sent to jail. He got 6 years jail last year. Okay, and his appeal was held in July, and it took him over a month to do the finalisation. Okay, now I watched this appeal yesterday, and I listened very carefully, and I listened very, very closely, and in my personal opinion, he didn't do what he did. He didn't do what he did. He didn't do what they have convicted him for. Okay, and I'm not the only person who thinks this. There was a 300-page report that was released by the Chief Justices. Okay, so by the three justices who sat on the panel, they issue a report after it to how they came up to their decisions and how they came to find the way they found. Well, 200 of those pages were written by one Chief Justice who is one of the most senior justices, stating that Cardinal Pell could not and should not have been found guilty, and if he should be released.
Oh, wow.
200 of the 300 pages, okay, by the most senior Chief Justice. It's one of the most senior justices in the country, okay, and has been for 30 years. In his circles, he's considered a genius, okay. So I certainly don't. I can certainly state for a fact that I do not believe he is guilty what they found him guilty of. Now, I'm not saying that he's innocent of everything. I'm saying, I'm certain that there's shit he's done, okay, in his past, whether or not, because he was the head of the
story
Victim
than they're
Compensation
saying.
Fund.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because he was the head of the Victim Compensations Fund, so maybe he didn't pay the people. Maybe he didn't pay him everything. So, yeah, sure, I can certainly look at it and go, yeah, all right, he might have been guilty at that.
Was he exposing anything?
No, let me go on, right? So he was ahead of that, okay? From there, he was then promoted. He was promoted to the Vatican Bank. He was promoted to the head of the Vatican Bank, okay? Now, here's where things get interesting, because when he was in charge of the Vatican Bank, he brought around a wide range of reforms. As a result of those reforms, a number of priests and cardinals were found guilty of money laundering or money-related offences, okay, engaging in illegal activities. They're very strong ties to La Cosa Nostra, the Italian mafia. So he actually found those people guilty. Now, some of them actually went to court. Some of them were found guilty. Some of them were disbarred. Some of them were disrobed. Some of them went to jail, okay? So he is somebody who had made a lot of enemies. However, looking at all the information that's been publicly available and listening to the Italian press and the Italian newspapers, even his enemies don't think that he is guilty of what he's been convicted of.
Wow.
So even his enemies go, no. Like, the guy may be an asshole, the guy may have covered shit up, but he ain't a kitty toucher.
Yeah.
When there's priests around that have done it and it's been proven, and the reason I say that it's possible that he's covered up is because there was a priest called Gerald Risdale who was a notorious sexual predator of children, okay? And George Pell and him, Cardinal Pell and him, were friendly. They were friends. They stayed in the same place, in the same building, okay? So certainly there's shit he might have covered up. I have no problems admitting that there's certainly things he covered up. I don't think he was guilty what they did. So it's going to be interesting because now they're looking at you've got an appeal to the highest court, okay, and it's not guaranteed that court will take it. It's much like the Canadian one and the American one. They can choose what cases they want to hear and what cases they don't want to hear. Yeah.
What is this? A world court or what?
No, this is Australian court. So he was in the federal. So he went to the federal court, then went to the appeals court to appeal his conviction.
Yeah.
And now the only way he can do anything more is to go to the High Court, okay, which is the highest court in Australia. All right. Previously, okay, after that, do you know what the level of court above the most supreme court in the country is?
In your country, no.
What about in your country?
No, not really. I forget, actually. They just had a supreme ruling not too long ago. But
it's higher than the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
It's called the Privy Council.
Privy Council? Okay. I've heard of that before,
yeah, it's called the Privy Council. The Privy Council is a court in England. It's where constitutional and matters can be held. However, if you decide to take the Privy Council route, you don't have the ability to appeal. You don't have the ability to do anything. It's the court. It just goes straight from whatever country is.
That's it.
It goes straight to them because it goes to a foreign country where the Commonwealth laws are the same.
I didn't think you could do that. Huh? That's weird.
You still can. However, you can only go from the local court to the Privy Council.
I've never heard of that before.
If you go from anything other than your local court, it can't be done. Yeah, very fascinating.
Wow.
Very fascinating. So that's going to be something that's happened over the next 12 months. It's going to be very, very interesting to see. Yeah, but that brings up a lot of other questions. Okay, so now you've got, and the reason this all ties back into the social justice is because I was actually watching the live streaming of it. I was watching they live streamed the court case.
Yeah.
And it was very, very evident that the judge, the most senior judge who disagreed, okay, was not happy. He was not happy. He basically sat there, looked down, and everybody knew that it was a 2-1 vote against, because they said it's 2-1 against. He doesn't agree. We think he's guilty.
I don't agree with that. 3 judges?
Yeah.
So you've got 3 people that are above you. See, the court system's a joke to me. When you say you understand in a court of law, that means you give the administrator, he's not even a judge in our country, they're called administrators, permission to judge you.
Yeah. See, no, it doesn't work that way because he went to the appeals court. Okay, so the appeals court is a very separate court to normal standard court. Is this common
law or is this like the maritime law stuff?
This is common law. This is all common law.
See,
and what they do is they're 3 specific judges.
Yeah, that's totally different.
They're the 3 judges, and they can only comment on points that have been brought up as points of appeal. Okay, so there were three arguments for points of appeal in the Cardinal Pell case. Okay, so they could only go on those 3 points. They can't make a decision about whether or not he's guilty or innocent unless.
Yeah, but did it get appealed or?
It did get appealed, and that's why I went to these 3 judges.
And
these 3 judges are the ones that they're the judges on the appeals court. They were the one that came 2-1 against. Okay, he actually had a jury trial first, and it was a hung jury. Okay, he then had another jury trial, all right, and that was found guilty. Okay, for the same trial, the first one was a hung jury, second one they found him guilty, right? And here's the thing. They had another trial set down, okay, for 1 month after, but they decided not to go ahead with that because they'd already found him guilty of another offence. So how the fuck is he guilty if they just wipe that fucking trial completely off? They don't want to go to court with that.
Yeah, that makes no sense, man.
You see? So it's like... Well,
almost like they make the rules as we go, like, no...
well, sometimes they do.
Justice and just us.
Justice is blind, but only when it comes to the rich people.
Yeah, I agree there.
All right, okay, but at the same time, you've got rich people who are going to. Here's something that's going to be interesting. Okay, now I don't know if you're aware of this because you're in Canada, but the leader of the United Arab Emirates, okay, Sultan Mufti Shem Wamabama Bingalong, okay, his wife, Princess Hamada, I think her name is, fucked off to the UK, and now she's getting a divorce.
Oh, wow.
From the king of fucking Saudi Arabia or United Arab Emirates, or whatever he fucking calls himself, right? But that she's now holed up in the UK.
Well, it's probably smart she left there because the shit they could do to you.
She had to escape.
Yeah, exactly.
She had to fucking escape.
Yep, or they probably would have killed her.
One of the princesses, one of the crown princesses, okay, was on a fucking boat.
Wow. And
got picked up trying to fucking flee. She was halfway across to Israel from Jordan. She went down that way. Right, was halfway across. and then the fucking boats came out and got her. And the reason that the boats came out and got her is because she sent a text message to her family telling them, I'm leaving. She should have fucking just left and then messaged them after. Because she messaged on the way. They fucking tracked her.
So she didn't make it to the UK, or did she?
She didn't escape.
Oh, no.
She didn't escape, all right? And there was a video that came out afterwards, right? This is a video that came out afterwards and said, if you're seeing this video, bad shit has happened. I'm in serious fucking trouble. I can't get out. They're going to fucking kill me.
Yeah.
Right? Then,
oh, my God.
What happened was there was this huge international backlash to the daughter being dragged back on the boats. So the UK sent an ambassador, okay, a former fucking peace ambassador, fucking whatever she was, but, you know, some ranking thing, to the United Arab Emirates or Saudi Arabia to meet the fucking king and the family. And there's pictures and videos of this fucking thing, right, of her and the girl, of this daughter. And the daughter is drugged out of her fucking brain. Her eyes are wired.
Huh.
And she's just sitting there, and as a fucking zombie. And this is proof that the kid's all right. Yeah, they're drugging her up so she can't fucking leave.
That's unfortunate.
And the human rights fucking bitch from the UK is like, oh, yeah, everything's fine. No, it fucking wasn't. Any two-bit observer can see that.
Slider said he wants to get out of the UK, man. He wants to move to Canada. He's this Brexit thing. He says he needs his ID for freedom of movement now to go anywhere. I don't know much about the Brexit thing, but he says for his freedom of movement.
I am pro Brexit. Okay, I am pro Brexit. I don't know where Slider is. I can't see him, but I am pro Brexit. Okay?
He doesn't like it at all.
I am absolutely for Brexit, and the reason being
it's taking everybody's sovereignty away, though. I'm not against that. I'm against that.
No, Brexit. No. Brexit is them leaving. Britain's exit from the European Union is called Brexit. Okay, so Brexit is a good thing.
Okay, well, this is what he sent me.
Brexit is them leaving the European Union.
UK to end freedom of movement for EU citizens 1 day of Brexit under new government plan. Free movement for EU citizens will end 1 day of a no-deal Brexit under the new Home Office plans, despite warnings of chaos of people trapped in legal limbo. He said it's chaos there right now.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. I completely and totally agree with that. Okay?
What? So asking for your papers every time you cross a street?
No, that's not what it's saying. It's what it's saying. Okay, freedom of movement for the UK is the ability to go from France to England without having to show a passport.
Well, he's saying you have to show it everywhere you go.
Right. So that's what the freedom of movement is. That's what Brexit. That's what one of the big things is. Okay. So if you are okay, say for example, if you are a drug lord in Romania,
mm-hmm.
and you want to move to the United Kingdom, you can just walk straight through, sit down, buy a house. You don't need to prove that you know. It doesn't matter if you're a drug lord. Okay. Britain has no right to stop you from coming into their country. That's what the thing is, right? If you're a Canadian, okay, and you want to fly to France, all right, do you have a passport?
No, I don't. I'm getting one though.
But you would need a passport to enter France, right?
Yeah.
Right. Well, currently, okay, you don't need a passport to go into into any country from the European Union if you're from the European Union.
Wow.
All right, you show ID to say, you know, when you can just, as I said, you can go from Romania, pick up from Romania, just walk into fucking any other country you want, buy a house, and as long as they've got money there, they won't ask you where you're from. They don't ask you any background information. They don't ask you anything. Now, personally, if they turned around and said anyone who wants to come and live in Australia is welcome to come and live in Australia.
Well, the citizens there aren't too happy about this.
Some of the citizens there. Okay, some of the citizens there, and if you're going to talk, you can't talk about Brexit. You can't talk about Brexit. You can't talk You can't talk about
I don't
any.
know enough. I was just talking to Slider about it, and he's really unhappy with it. He's
fine.
Planning to leave the country because of it.
Because of Brexit.
Yeah.
So if they leave the European Union, he's going to leave the country.
He's leaving the country. He can't. They already have it in place. The Brexit deal. So the new office started. It's 1 day in place already. He says you need your ID to travel anywhere. It's so bad. It's like Nazi Germany. Look at the 200.
If they need to do it, look at the border
patrol for the states. It's like 200 miles in the states. They have border patrol. 200 miles into the states. Well, everybody lives within 200 miles of the border. Most of the population lives within 200 miles of the border.
I'm a big fucking advocate of national borders. Okay, I am a big advocate. Okay, my opinion is if you want to come to Australia on a fucking boat illegally, you get blown up.
Oh, for sure, but.
All right. So what's the difference?
But if you're not doing something wrong, you're already in Australia. So why should somebody have to stop you and ask you for your ID? You think if you're walking down the street and you're not doing something wrong, somebody has the right to come up to you and hassle you, stop you, ask you where you're going, ask you where your ID, where you've been. You think that's okay?
In the situation in Britain, yeah, I do. I'm quite happy to explain why if you'd like. Okay, I don't agree with it as a long-term measure. Totally against it as a long-term measure.
Yeah,
okay?
but what they did was all by design. Say they're doing the same thing here.
As a short-term measure, okay, I totally agree with it. Why? Because you've got a lot of people in countries, okay, like England especially, that are undocumented. Okay, so they're not there legally. All right,
that's everywhere.
Okay,
that's everywhere.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's higher in England because of where they're located. Okay,
all right. All over
sure,
the place.
You get some
it's
illegal.
It's in Canada. It's in the United States.
All over and that's fine. But you've got to understand, Britain is now going from having an open border policy to having a closed border policy
by design.
And as a result, that's fine. That's fine. They're not the only country who's done it. Okay?
Nope, exactly.
But as a result of that, okay, for the next X amount of months, all right, they need to.
So we live under a dictatorship then?
In certain situations, yeah.
Nah, I don't believe in that. Come to my door and ask me something.
Yeah.
Nah, that wouldn't work for me.
Here's the thing. If you go into a foreign country, okay.
I wouldn't go into a foreign country. If I went to a foreign country, I'd respect their cultures and I would respect their values.
Right, and what are those people who don't?
Well, they're criminals. There's always going to be criminals. You can't.
Okay, so let me ask you something. If I came from Australia to Canada, okay, and we have an open border policy, so I don't need to provide any information on my background.
You have to.
And I move next door to you, okay, and you and I lived together, and we lived in peace and harmony for fucking next to each other for 5 years. And then you turn around and find out that I'm a serial killer, cannibal, who's been on the run for the last 5 years. All right, should I be in Canada?
Just bury you in the back bush. No, you wouldn't want to be fucking a serial killer.
But you understand what I'm asking. You understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, but
that's what what the UK has to do for the next certain amount of months. They have to do it.
So they should do it. They should do it around the world then, because you could have a serial killer living to you next door right now. How that makes no sense,
the difference is.
It
makes perfect sense. Okay, no. And the reason why it makes perfect sense is because Britain's now going from an open border policy to a closed border policy. They've gone from not checking who's in their country to now checking who's in their country. I totally agree with that.
Well, unfortunately, there's a lot of people that don't.
Oh, of course there are.
I don't believe in any country or anybody that should give their sovereignty away. You're giving your freedom away for a little bit of security.
What do you think?
You deserve neither
Brexit
freedom or security.
Leaving the European.
If you give your freedom away for security or your freedom away for security. You just deserve neither. Your sovereignty.
Brexit is the Britain.
I know exactly what it is.
It's them regaining their sovereignty.
Yeah.
If they stay joined to the European Union, okay, all right, they lose their national identity. Brexit is a good thing. Brexit is regaining individuality, okay? I am totally for Brexit. I do not think that Britain should be part of the European Union.
I don't believe in that, but I don't believe in dictatorship.
Well, in this situation, you've got one or the other.
No. You're saying both is okay. You're saying dictatorship is fine.
No, that's not what I said. What I said for a short period of time.
No. Then short period of time, it won't be a short period of time. It'll only get worse.
No, I don't agree with that at all.
I do. The police
if you've got a closed order,
get worse and worse.
If you've got closed borders and you do, okay, immigration control or immigration checks, okay, that is not a dictatorship. That is a country exercising its individual right to choose and have people in its country that it wants. And if you do not fulfill the character, the means testing in which you are to join that society, then you don't belong in that country. And one of the rules of those societies is you don't be committing a major crime. You don't be engaged in criminal activity. So sure, if I'm living in India, okay, as a white man with long hair, living in India, okay, walking around the street, I would expect a cop to come up to me and say, "Where the hell are you from? What are you doing here?" And for me to have to prove who I am, I would expect that because I am a foreign person in that country, okay, in that
totally
organization.
Different, brother. I don't believe in dictatorship.
It's not a dictatorship. It's a country exercising its rights.
So somebody owns this rock, you're saying?
What?
I think it's a dictatorship.
If there's illegal immigration, if there's illegal immigrants in Canada, who gets rid of them?
What do you mean?
If there is an illegal immigrant in Canada,
yeah, they get shipped back.
How do they get rid of them?
With border patrols.
By who?
Border patrols or whatever.
Okay, well I don't agree with your dictatorship then, because that's exactly what it is. It is a country executing its rights to deport illegal immigrants. Okay, you call it a dictatorship, but Canada does the same thing. If you're an illegal immigrant into a country, you shouldn't be there.
Listen, if you're in Canada, a cop cannot come up to you unless he sees you do something wrong. They cannot come up to you and say, "Papers, please." It don't matter what color you are. That is a dictatorship.
I don't agree with you on it, and that's okay. We can disagree. We can disagree about it. I don't agree with you. On it. I think that it's
there's going to be criminals. Criminals don't obey laws, unfortunately.
No, that's exactly right. Okay.
So you're going to have criminals all over the world. They don't obey laws. Good people obey laws.
Hmm. So then, you know what they'll do? If it's not something that is unusual. There has been different things like this happen throughout history.
Oh, okay? We're repeating history to a T right now.
All right. The thing that England's doing, England has to do. Okay. One of the things that you can look at is one of the biggest issues is the border, the wall. You know, Trump built that fucking wall. You know, America's turned towards nationalism to try and bring everything
keep out
internal.
Illegal immigrants. Like if there's borders, like if they're different countries and they're traveling into a different country, then they should show their papers. Okay, but if they're already in the country, no, I don't believe a police has a right to walk up to you and ask you for your papers.
All right, we're moving on to a different point, but they've done this throughout history. The Build the Wall movement, okay, that's Trump doing, okay, that's right on line with where America should be developing as a country.
Yeah.
Okay, we're right at the point now where America should be building a wall, historically speaking, because they're not as old as other countries. Other countries who are older have done it.
Yeah.
China did it in the 14th century.
Yeah.
Okay, Russia did it in the 15th century, 16th century.
Okay.
Okay. Other countries have done it. Other countries have done it and built walls and gone to national identity, and it generally happens.
Maybe we just got mixed up there because, like,
I think we did. I think your understanding of what Brexit is actually.
I do like. You have to like, as long as it's a border. That's what I mean. Like if you're in the UK and you're going to say another country that's just right beside UK, of course you got to show your passport, right? But
yeah.
But if you're in the UK, I don't believe they should be able to come up to you and just ask you for your papers if you're not doing anything wrong.
Okay, I'll give you another example where that's happened throughout history. Okay.
Germany.
No, America.
Yeah.
When Castro fucked all the Cuban refugees and they all caught boats and swarmed the boats into Florida.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That was a serious problem. So what did the police have to do? They had to go around searching, we need your papers to make sure you're a legitimate person. Is that wrong? Should America
did they do that?
Yes, they did.
Wow.
And they rounded them all up into cages.
I remember that. I remember they made a movie about it and everything. I remember
yes,
that.
they made Scarface has a little bit in it, but they didn't round them all
there
up
was
and
a
put them in
movie
cages.
too. I forget.
They actually said basically, look, we need you to prove who you are. If you can't prove who you are, you're heading back home.
Yeah,
sending you back to Cuba.
Yeah.
So was that a bad thing for the US to do?
Well, I don't understand how they were getting in or nothing, but
they came across an open waterway. The Cubans got in boats.
Yeah, as long as they caught them on boats and brought them to the place, no problem. But if they're in the country, no.
So they're illegally in the country and they're criminals and they've come illegally through an open border and the police shouldn't have any right to check who they are.
They do not have the right to talk to you unless they see you do something wrong. In Canada and the USA.
Well,
they have to see you do a crime to talk to even ask you. They're not even allowed to turn their emergency lights on unless it's an emergency. But they still use them.
Do you know how they managed to get how they managed to get around stopping and asking people for ID?
Setting up checkpoints, DUI checkpoints, stuff like that. That's how they do it here.
It's not how they did it then.
It's how
they criminalized marijuana.
It's
they criminalized marijuana.
Yeah, they just set up checkpoints here now.
Now, what happened was in the US they criminalized marijuana, and prior to 1972, okay, you could walk down the street anywhere in the USA, smoke a joint, and you wouldn't get into trouble. After 1972, they criminalized it, which then allowed police. 72, which then allowed police to actually stop people because people would still smoke marijuana on the street and it wasn't a crime. Because the law was a federal law, it wasn't a state law. Federal laws are still applied. So it allowed them to stop, search people at that point, smoking marijuana. And we don't even need you to be proven to smoking marijuana. We can smell marijuana, therefore we suspect it.
But they keep making rules and rules. It's all this money.
But
it's all commerce.
That's what happened as a direct result of the United States' inability to stop and ask people for identification after the influx of Cuban refugees. Okay? So, whilst that happened, that's caused 30 years worth of trauma. You know what? Ask me for my fucking paperwork. If I'm not illegal, I don't have anything to worry about.
No, I don't agree with that.
Okay? And here's why. Because eventually, okay, you'll stop getting asked. Because you'll be seen in that area.
It's going to get nothing but worse.
You'll be able to go down the troll.
No, it's just going to be natural. You'll have your papers out before they even ask you.
And in the certain situations, I'm okay with living like that for a short period of time.
No, I'm not. No, never.
And that's fine. That's fine. You know, that's totally okay. But this type of shit happens everywhere in the world.
Yeah. Criminals don't obey laws.
It's fucking crazy.
Like Buddy said, what did Buddy say on the stage at one politician in the States? It's the guns that do the killing. Oh, really? Well, you know what?
Guns don't kill people.
No,
people kill people.
Exactly. Don't you? That's that. Remember that propaganda on stage with the one politician? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. The thing that you got to look at, okay, in relation to all that is the group psyche. It's whether the group wants to believe it. Because if you got people who categorically say, mate, that's fucking bullshit, then the group isn't going to believe it. But the power of group psychology is incredibly strong.
See, well, what we're talking about are just opinions. Like, this is nothing about truth or anything. This is just, you know.
No, this is
opinion.
These are our opinions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
These are our individual opinions, okay, and these are my individual opinions, and my opinions can be changed if I am provided with evidence to show that I'm wrong. Yeah. I'm totally okay to say, you know what, I was wrong. Okay, exactly. Now I've made certain statements, you know, in the last one where I stated that you know, genetically, you know, the African American gene is a dominant gene, and the Asian gene is a subservient gene, okay? Mm-hmm. And that's a completely factual statement. It's not right. It's not, you know, it's politically correct. It's fact. It is fact. Yeah. Okay, it's saying it is a factual thing. That African American skull,
blue eyes and brown eyes. Blue eyes are weak, and brown eyes are strong. I never knew that till a few years ago, but yeah, it's just lately.
It's same as it's factually correct that African American or African people who have African descent have thicker skulls than Europeans. Okay, and that's not saying they're stupid. It's saying that the physical bone structure in their head is thicker than Caucasians and Asians. What? And that's just a fact. Yeah. Okay. It's it's not unfortunate. It's just how it is.
We're all different. We all bleed red, though.
I don't know about that. They're lizard people. I don't know what their blood is.
Yeah.
Them fucking lizard people, mate. Don't get me started on the lizard people. Shit. Those bloody bastards.
You like David Icke?
David Icke, yeah.
He's banned in Canada.
Oh, mate, look.
Because of the lizard people.
Everybody's entitled. Everybody's entitled to have their opinion, okay? Yeah. And I brought up to you this last time. Mate, how fucked up would it be, okay, if L. Ron Hubbard and the Church of Scientology were fucking right? And it really, and L. Ron Hubbard is actually just getting information from the Anunnaki. Like, how fucking warped would that be? Okay?
Hey, you never know, man. We yeah. We're not at a level that we'd know. We could only assume or guess or.
Now here's something. Okay, now here's something. We're gonna take a short break in a minute, guys, and here's something I wanna bring up for a thought with you. All right. Now, have you ever been involved in a major accident?
Yeah. A car accident? Or
yeah, say car accident, right?
Okay, yeah.
Okay. I was involved in a car accident, okay? The crash impact was 155 kilometers an hour, all right? And I split my, I split my head from my eyebrow to my hairline.
Ouch.
Here's my question. During that period of time, everything was super, super slow. Now, you hear people, they've got different thoughts, whether time goes fast, time goes slow. I personally believe that during this fraction of a time where shit is going really, really slow, our brains are working faster than 10%.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like, they say that if we can just increase our brain capacity even 2 or 3%, we'd be able to do fucking telekinesis or whatever bullshit they say. But I honestly believe that during that period of time, okay, that fraction of a second, okay, time goes so slow, you're using more than 10% of your brain to get your body in a position where it won't be injured.
That's very interesting.
Or get your body prepared to have that crash impact.
I woke up in the hospital, so yeah.
So you didn't, So you didn't have that. See, I didn't lose consciousness the whole time.
Concussion, yeah. Next thing I knew, I was laying on a stretcher with people. I was like, "What the heck's going on?" I was a passenger. Somebody T-boned us, ran a red light.
Yeah, that's fucking harsh.
Oh,
I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, it wasn't fun, man. I had to go through therapy for a good 6 months and stuff.
Yeah, that would have been real fucking difficult.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. Break time. Okay, guys, we're gonna take a few minutes break, and we'll be right back. I'll see you in a minute. Welcome back to Casual Conversations with Chevs and Dragnat on D-Live TV. Hey, brother. That's a pretty neat video, eh? Yeah.
Mate, I'm always going to have the best stuff for you. I got some more stuff lined up for you next week.
I enjoyed watching that. Did you see my face?
I did. It's quite uplifting, you know. It's very important that you have music that's going to promote thinking.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and that's why I like a lot of instrumental music is is good because it's designed that way. You know, where you have like Rage Against the Machine or 40 Odd Foot of Grunts or Slipknot or whatever. They've got their own message, and it
If
makes
I
you
could
think
be
a
a
different
professional musician, like, or an instrument, I would love to know how to play the piano. Oh man, I've listened to a friend
way. Piano's a great instrument. It's hard.
When I was, yeah, it looked super hard, but when I was younger, I was at a friend's house, and they were a bit older, but just amazing. Like, we'd sit around, get drunk, and he'd play Pink Floyd, stuff like that on the piano. It just blew my mind, man. It was just beautiful.
I love the violin.
Violin?
The violin and the harp. My daughter plays the violin. All right. She refuses to play when I'm around.
Why is she embarrassed or?
No, because she knows how much it means to me. Yeah, and she doesn't want to be.
Do you cry?
She doesn't want to play a song if it's not perfect.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Which I totally understand.
Is she like a perfectionist or?
She's not a perfectionist. She just doesn't like doing shit half-assed.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't have to be 100% perfect, but as long as it's 95.
Yeah. That works.
You can miss 5 notes out of 100. That's not a problem. It's not going to change the song.
Yeah.
You miss more than 30 notes. Well, we've got a fucking different song here now, don't we?
Is she taking lessons right now still, or?
Oh, of course. She's been learning 7 years now, going strong.
Oh, wow.
And here's the thing. We've spoke about this before, and I'm a big believer. You should push musical instruments on the kids. You should make a child learn a musical instrument.
I believe they should take martial arts too.
Absolutely, martial arts.
Especially when they're young. As long as they have a good sensei that's good with children.
But But see, the thing is, right? It all comes down to your reasoning. Okay, now I want all my kids to learn an instrument, and the reason I think everybody should learn an instrument is very, very simple. If you play the violin, you play the cello, you play the guitar, you play the fucking piano accordion. Okay.
Do they even have music class in school anymore? Or?
They do, yeah.
Okay.
But if you learn an instrument, it doesn't matter where you go in the world. It doesn't matter what happens to you in your life. You will always have the ability to make money.
Yeah.
You will be able to busk. You will be able to do all that shit,
Very true.
Okay? And the reason that my kids are my children learn a martial art is also one of the reasons why I want them to learn, jiu-jitsu, is because it's the mentality. It's a mental discipline.
Yeah,
it is not about martial arts is not about fighting.
Yep. You're exactly right. That's why I mean about sensei. They got to have the proper sensei because my daughter's sensei, he was great with the kids and he made them understand it wasn't for fighting. It's all about discipline, right?
It's all a mind game. It's all mental discipline.
Yeah.
Okay, and I personally believe
he was great.
Society
with the kids.
has a lot of but I bet you he taught your daughter a lot about impulse control.
Yep.
Okay, and kids these days have no impulse control.
No.
Everything is I want, me, now. If you remember the line from Captain Hook.
Yeah.
All right, but it's all about that. It's all about me. Right? There's no impulse control.
You think that's parenting though, no?
That's society.
Yeah,
we're
part of it too. Because
we're in a society where everything's on demand.
Yeah, true.
And if everything is on demand,
but our state is raising our kid too. Most people's kids, anyways, because the husband and wife got to go work 60 hours a week just to afford to feed their kids and.
Yeah, but we talked about that last week. That comes down to a multiple wide variety of fucking issues.
Exactly.
That's both societal, financial, and otherly. And there's certainly situations where you do not have to have a dual income household. All right, it will be harder if you don't.
Yep.
Okay, but you can survive barely.
Yeah. Need something on the side or something, right? I don't know. I think of being a mother is a full-time job. I don't know. It is the way society is, and I agree.
Being a parent is a full-time job. Being a parent is full-time. Right, I got a joke for you. Right?
All right.
All right. Okay, so gynecologist. He's 55 years old. He's been a gynecologist for 30 years. He's had enough of it. He's fucking shit of it. He goes, fuck this. I need a fucking new job. All right. So he starts having a look around at, what he wants to learn something new. He wants to do something new. But he needs to do something that he's got skills in. He needs to do something that he's got the skills for. So he needs something where he's got, it's very intellectual, and he needs to be able to use his hands. So he decides to go to study to become a mechanic. Okay, so he's going to become a mechanic. So he goes down to the local trade school. We call them TAFEs here. You might call them something else there. He goes down to a trade school, gets an apprenticeship, and wanted to become a mechanic. So the time came that his exam was approaching. And the bloke had prepared for fucking weeks, okay? Completed the exam. He thought he did a fucking great job. All right. When he got his results back, and there's a mistake. He had a look on his. He called the lecturer, the teacher up. He said, "Look, I want to come in and meet you, and it's because there's a mistake." He goes in there. He says, "Mate, look, you gave me 150%. I don't understand. Like, there must have been a mistake." And the instructor, the teacher turned around and he said, "Mate, during the exam, you took the engine apart perfectly, which was worth 50% of the mark. Okay, you put the engine back together again perfectly, which was 50% of the mark. You got the other 50% of the mark because you did it entirely through the exhaust pipe."
Is it what? I missed that.
He did it entirely through the exhaust pipe. So he pulled the engine out through the exhaust.
Oh shit!
All right, I'll give you another one. Okay.
Yeah.
This is the dad joke of the century. Okay. Lady goes in. She takes a dog into the vet, and she says, "Doctor, my dog is really, really sick. I think he's dead. He's not moving. Can you help me out?" So the vet puts the dog on the table, and he puts his stethoscope on it and listens for the heartbeat. And then he reaches under the table and pulls out a cat. Puts the cat and stands the cat up on top of the dog. The cat just walks around, and then the vet picks the cat back up and puts it down under the table into the box. He says, I'm sorry to tell you, your dog is dead. And she said, "Oh, that's terrible. That's terrible. How much do I owe you, to do everything?" She said, $300. The vet says, $350. She said, $350? You've looked at him for 30 seconds. He said, "Yeah, that's $100 for disposing of the body and $250 for the CAT scan."
That's so cheesy.
That goes in the dad joke of the year pile, that one does.
Yeah.
That is a good dad joke. That is a good dad joke.
I'm not good with jokes.
You're not good with jokes? Mate,
Not
what
really.
are you good with? You are Canadian, so, apart from apologising for everything.
Okay, well, there's a plane crash on the Niagara Falls border in the United States. And there's about 150 people in the crash, and about 20 survived or died. Where'd they bury the survivors?
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't say that right. What side did they bury the survivors on?
No, but that's okay.
Yeah.
They would have gone down the waterfall, wouldn't they?
You don't know what side they'd bury the survivors on? If it was on the United States border and the Canadian border?
No, I had no idea.
No. They don't bury survivors.
They don't. They do not bury survivors. That is the see. That's not fair.
I fucked it up at first. I thought you caught on.
You did fuck it up, and I did catch it because I'm like, I know this fucking joke. I've heard this fucking joke. I know this fucking thought thing, right? I know this fucking, and it's like you hear those old jokes and you're like, I know what this is coming. I know this is coming.
What the fuck is it? I thought you had it because I fucked it up at first.
No, close.
And maybe you're Kevin. Yeah.
I was getting there. But now, we've got this thing going on right now in Australia, okay, where we're having the whole fucking problem with the separation and understanding what fucking is real and what's not in media, you know. Now it's really starting to get bad over here.
Like the fake news, you mean?
Not fake news, just really slanted, biased reporting.
State-run media?
No, independent. You know, we've got 4 major channels, and then you've got your Fox, your pay television, but we've got 4 free-to-air channels that all have different news. But it's very.
I listen to. Do you know who Vinny Eastwood is from New Zealand?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I've heard of Vinny Eastwood.
I listen to him, and Maxwell Egan, he's in Australia. That's where I get my news from. But, yeah.
Yeah, it's very hard because you've got shit that's coming on now where on one it's very very slanted, the writing. Okay, very very slanted, and you can see that it's slanted by the words that they use. But if you're not smart, you don't pick it up.
Yeah.
Totally and it's how long do you reckon it's going to be before we move on to all out fake news?
I don't know, man. I think it will get worse before it gets better, but I don't know. What will it take for people to just realize this crap? You're talking about the propaganda they push, right?
Because you.
See, I don't know how bad your propaganda is there.
It's not necessarily propaganda. Not necessarily propaganda. More on the lines of it's so.
Is it pushing an idealism?
Planted.
Is it
not pushing an idealism? Say for example, if you're talking about somebody who was cleared of a criminal conviction, all right?
Mm-hmm.
The media outlets would still put alleged, even if they were clear. Even if they were found not guilty, they would still be. It would be alleged murderer, alleged kidnapper, alleged.
So you're guilty before. Yeah. Okay, I get you.
That's right, and it's the jury of public opinion, but it's slanted. And the problem is that they're no longer slanting in opposite directions. They're now starting to become slanted in the same genre. So, you know what I mean? They're starting to become slanted in the same fucking way. And we had a bloke by the name of Alan Jones, who's one of our biggest shock jocks. He is a shock jock, okay? He is Australia's version of Howard Stern, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who came out and said that our Prime Minister should shove a sock down Jacinda Ardern's throat because of the climate change shit, right? Now, Jacinda Ardern is the Prime Minister of New Zealand, okay? Well, he got so much backlash, didn't he? Oh boy, and it's making it. He didn't literally mean shove a sock down her throat. It's a colloquialism for get her to shut up because she doesn't know what she's talking about. Okay, same as giving somebody a backhand. Giving somebody a backhand is not smacking somebody across the face. It is a verbal backhand. It's bitch slap. You don't know what you're fucking talking about.
How do you see what? You give him a backhand or you just say
no, you give him a verbal backhand. For example, you come to me and you go, Matthew, the sky is orange, okay? And I'm going to go, mate, you're fucking full of shit. It's fucking blue. Pull your head out of your fucking arm, okay? That's me giving you a backhand.
Yeah. Okay? Gotcha.
But that's not me physically slapping you across the face, right? And so
all
all the social fucking justice warriors came out and bored saying, backhand refers to a patriarchal system of oppression against women. And I'm like, really? It's the word backhand? You've never been backhanded by your mother before?
No doubt.
You know, it's fucking crazy. It's just so we got all this bullshit going on now, and we're starting to become really fucking politically correct.
So how do you think we could fix that? Like, I can't see.
Start smacking your kids. There is a massive difference.
MD.
There's a massive difference between corrective discipline, okay, and abuse. All right. If my child is 3 years old and he's walking down the street and makes a run for the fucking road, I can't turn around to him and say, "Dear child of mine, please do not walk into the cars because you might get squashed like a pancake and I would rather you not die." He doesn't understand that, but he understands me smacking him on the hand and saying no because it's, fuck, okay, I don't go near the road.
Yeah, I agree too. There's a totally difference between discipline and child abuse, and unfortunately here you can't even discipline your children, or you have CSS
You can't smack your kids in anywhere. Yeah. And mate, I remember going down there. I remember if I was in the shopping centre and I was being a cunt, my mum would just tan my ass in the shopping centre and just keep shopping.
Yeah,
you know, kids screaming in aisles and parents just walking away. No one gave a fuck.
You don't see that no more though, do you? Hey,
mate, that's when the snowflake generation came. Oh, I've got a little pain in the bum.
The snowflake.
Mama smacked me. I'm gonna call the police.
Yeah.
It's just fucking insane.
I agree 100% with you. Yeah, I remember those days. You're bringing back memories now. But I probably deserved those smacks, so.
But, mate, so I guarantee that I did.
Yeah, all right, for sure.
But have you noticed how the TV shows that we watched when we were younger are now bad?
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
do you remember Sailor Moon? I don't know if you ever got Sailor Moon. Sailor Moon was a Japanese anime, okay, cartoon. You see, it's very famous.
Yeah, I think I used to watch that when I was a kid.
You know, you see girls cosplaying as Sailor Moon and Sailor Moon, right? Yeah. Okay, now you can't watch that now because that's considered, you know, gender identity politics and you know, conforming women. All right, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, old ones, can't watch anymore. Violence, violence.
I'm wondering about that with TV, like movies, like certain movies I used to like back in, like, say 2000, even 2005. I can't find them anywhere. Like, you can find them on the net, like through those sites and stuff, but they don't play them on the cable or anything. It's always I don't know. It's all different.
When you were a kid, did you ever watch Noddy? It was an English. There was a show called Noddy. Okay, it was done by it was an English show. Okay, very very famous, very famous, very big, right? Okay, they removed Noddy because Noddy had a best friend called Big Ears, and they would often sleep together under the same roof. That was the reason it got pulled off, because it was considered to be gay. All right. Now, do you remember the original Thomas the Tank Engine?
Yep.
You remember who narrated it?
Who?
Ringo Starr, one of the Beatles, narrated the original one, right? They have now taken that off, okay, of fucking radio
Thomas
and TV.
the Train?
Thomas the Tank Engine in Friends. Yep, the original one. They have now removed it because some of the language is considered offensive in today's times.
That's like comedians can't tell jokes anymore. And so some of them are apologizing for jokes they made on Twitter like 15 years ago. I don't believe in that. It's
really bad. It's really bad.
Do you think it's going to get
better?
Because
you can't. Look, we're having whitewashing of television, and blackwashing of television, and, you know, rainbow washing of fucking television. It's not a good thing. It's not a good thing.
Do you think we need to get rid of social media or something? Do you think that would help?
No, I don't. I don't. But then you bring up, you talk about social platforms and social media platforms, and you take YouTube and Facebook, and we're having big problems with those at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But the problems that we're having is because it comes down to, what are they? Are they a publisher, or are they a...
Yeah.
Yeah, are they a publisher, or are they a platform?
What do they say they are?
Well, they change. They say that they're both, but you can't be both.
No, exactly.
If you're a publisher, you have editorial content. If you're a platform, you do not have editorial content, and you are not responsible for what is posted. All right? And YouTube has gone so far past the point of anybody expected. YouTube is no longer a platform or a publisher. It is essentially
the
an archive for historical videos.
Yeah. And some of them you have to put them on private or they get deleted anyways. There's so many people that's even me. I had videos up.
But here's the thing.
10 years ago, I once in a while I get them deleted, and I'll get a notice.
But here's the thing. You delete shit like that, and they are. It's not. You can't do that. They've moved into a completely different realm. They are no longer a publisher or a platform. They are an archiving service. They will be, at some point, the only history that we have left on Earth in some form or vein, because eventually books will, apart from L. Ron Hubbard and the Church of Scientology's gold-plated books and the Mormons' gold-plated electro, whatever the fuck they're doing in their
I believe
bunkers.
that because look at, they're already taking the pen and paper out of the classroom.
That's fact. That's fact. That's public knowledge that this is all written down. But apart from that, okay, most books and shit will eventually go.
Yeah,
eventually they'll go.
Everything will be digital, yeah.
Everything will be digital, and at that point, history will have been forgotten. Because the only history we will have will be in things like YouTube, okay? And
that's unfortunate, but if they tear everybody's videos down, then there goes our history.
Yeah, but the thing is, they're tearing down videos that don't conform with societal norms. Okay, so let's take this, all right? Can you imagine if there's no books in the world, okay, and all our information's digital, all right? And no one knows who Hitler is because Hitler doesn't exist anymore because he's been whitewashed out of history.
No.
Pol Pot, Stalin.
Why do you think history repeats?
Right, but this is what I'm saying. YouTube are deleting videos that are historically accurate because they don't fulfill the fucking societal norms of the society now. Okay, that's where we have a problem, you know? And that's what they need to stop doing. Like, don't get me wrong. If I get up there and I say something that is blatantly offensive, designed to provoke a response, okay, it should be taken down. Okay? It should be taken down. All right? If I'm directly calling fucking, you know, if I was promoting the idea of a French Revolution again, I would expect France to go, the country of France.
But they're not doing that, though. They're hiding stuff like flat Earth videos or, different conspiracies.
Right.
Yep.
And they're hiding historical documents. They're hiding information about Hitler, about Pol Pot, about the Mayans. You know, and this is the problem that they have, is they need to stop doing that because they are no longer in a position where they can choose. They are now an archival service.
Like, you could put the exact title in now, and it'll be all the mainstream come up first. It used to never be like that.
No, it didn't. And it's scary that you have to go and have a look at microfilm to find out what happened in the fucking 60s.
Yeah.
It's scary that you actually have to do that because you can't find the articles online because the articles you find online have been edited. And you know that they're edited because they use words that are used today and weren't used 50 years ago.
Exactly.
Okay? And you can tell that because you can have a look
at...
The
lingo. You know,
yep. The lingo.
Yep.
You have a look at, news articles that came out in the 60s and the 70s and they were talking about queer, right? And when they used the word queer, it was used as a derogative term, okay? And you know they use the word queer, but when you have a look at it in the articles today, when they pull the same article up, it's not the same word. It's a completely different word because queer is now an identifying fucking label, okay? And to use an article from 50 years ago with a word that was offensive.
That was assaulting, right?
Yeah, they felt assaulted, okay? Maybe they should have more pepper. I don't know. Maybe they should have more fucking pepper. But here's the thing. There's no balls.
I agree there.
Society has become so fucking gender neutral bullshit that as a white male in today's society, I can't say anything to anybody without being afraid of it being fucking taken as somebody being offended by what I say. You know? It's just not possible for me to fucking do anything.
Yeah.
So how the fuck are we expecting our kids to grow up like that? I don't want my kids to turn around at fucking 15 and say, I am, this and this and this and this and this and this and this. These are all my labels. These are all my labels and this is how I identify. I don't want my kids to
genders now in Canada you could choose from. And there's another sad thing. They want to leave the birth certificate blank until the child's 4 years old and let the child decide what it wants to be. And they're teaching this stuff in grade school and stuff now. They shouldn't even know about some of this. I don't.
No. But you want to know what shits me most? You want to know what fucking shits me most of all? Right? If you're fucking born as a male, you identify as a male, you live your life as a male, you're not identified as a fucking male. You're identified as cis.
As cis?
You are cis. Yeah, you are a cis male or a cis female. CIS. Okay? Because you identify with what... That's the fucking thing. You're not a male anymore. You're a cis because you identify with what you were born as when you were born. Okay? That fucking shits me. Yeah. And I showed you. We were, everybody listening, we were getting everything set up for all our communications, for our emails, for everything else, and we went onto the Gmail website because we created the email casualconversations@gmail.com. I was asked my gender, and then I was asked to choose to customize my gender and what I wanted to be referred to as.
I was shocked when you showed me that.
I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna let you talk for the next couple of minutes because I'm sure you've got some very strong fucking thoughts on this.
Well, he was making a YouTube or email account, and there was about 4 different things to choose from, and one you could make your own gender. They had a spot where you choose, and then you had to write in your whatever gender you are or whatever you identify as. I don't know. It was something I've never seen in my life. I've seen other stuff like that, but I was pretty shocked to see that. And I just made an email account too, and we didn't have that. I'm gonna try making one, see if it's changed or not in Canada.
But here's the funny thing. The funny thing is, technically, you're not allowed to open a Gmail account until you're over the ages of 16.
Oh, really?
All right. So, yeah. So if you put your date of birth as under 16, okay, they will actually say, come back when you're older.
Ah.
I know, because I tried to set up an email. Yeah, see, because my daughter's name is incredibly unique. No one else spells her name the way that she spells her name.
Oh, nice.
Okay, in the entire world.
That's awesome.
There's only 2 consonants. Okay, 2 consonants, and her name is 13 letters long.
That's
so
sweet.
there's 11 vowels in her name.
Did she have trouble spelling it?
And the only no, she knows. The only consonants in there are the letter T and the letter L. Okay, they're the only 2 consonants, right? So I tried to get her an email for her name. Okay, her name @gmail.com. Put in her date of birth. Okay, at the time she was 11. Okay, So I put in a date of birth and actually said, come back when you're 16. It actually blocked me from creating any new email accounts for more than a month.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
So it blocks your IP then?
Yep. No, it blocks my account. It blocks my account because I was opening up the email address under another account that I have as a subsidy. You know, you know how you know how when you have your primary account.
Add an account? Yeah.
You add an account, yeah. So I was going to add an account situation. So that was fucking interesting. I didn't know that. I did not know that. Okay, here's another interesting thing. Okay, if you go on what's that? There's a dating site. There's a dating site, a very big one. Okay, it's really huge. It's really huge. It's not Adult Matchmaker. It's one of the other ones. One of the more selective.
I'm trying to think of some of the big ones.
All right. But anyway,
not coming to mind.
If you go in there, they ask you what your marital status is. Okay.
Yeah.
And if you put in that you're divorced, they say come back in 12 months.
No way.
Okay.
What if you've been divorced for 12 months?
It doesn't matter. They say come back in 12 months, right? If you put down that you're separated, it says come back when you're divorced.
That's funny. Wow.
All right, yeah. That's fucking hilarious.
That is.
It's absolutely fucking hilarious. Yeah, you know? It just cracks me up.
I can't get this grin off my face.
It's just, come back when you're fucking divorced, mate. Fuck off. Now you're divorced, okay. We don't know
separated.
Right? But here's the thing, because you've got to put your email address in. They link it to your email address. If you go, you separate it and then you cancel it and go to start a new one and say you're divorced, right? Okay, it won't go through because they'll block the email address and say, fuck you, come back in 12 months.
That's funny. Wow, I've never heard of that before, but cause I know they have those questions, but wow. Is that for safety reasons or what the heck is it? That's weird. You think they'd want their money.
Oh, well, here's the thing. Some of them don't. Okay, so you have a look at it's eHarmony. eHarmony, I think it is.
Okay, yeah.
So it's one of the more respectable ones. It's not a porn bot one.
I thought eHarmony was. Isn't there one for married people?
Yeah, Ashley Madison.
Yeah, okay.
Ashley Madison, right? Yeah, Ashley Madison. And the only reason I know that is because that brings me to the point that I'm talking about. There's this one bloke who owns them all.
No shit, eh? Oh, wow. He's probably making a fortune. He owns it through
fucking oath. Yeah, they turned something like $12.5 million profit last year.
Yeah,
okay.
I could imagine.
But it's one bloke, and through his trust or company, okay, he owns Adult Matchmaker, Ashley Madison, and a bunch of other ones. And the only reason anybody even knows about fucking Ashley Madison, okay, is because of the hacking scandal that happened. Because they got hacked and they had all their user data published.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
And that's how that came about. And that was fucking hilarious.
Whatever happened to that torrent guy or the torrent site, that billionaire guy?
Napster?
Is that what? Yeah, that could be.
Napster was taped. Yeah, Napster was an old one. They got sued by Slipknot or one of them cunts.
What was his name?
Oh, I can't remember. But he went on after he did that. He went on to help the guy who did Facebook.
So he's still up there.
Oh, he's still in the. He still has shares in Facebook.
Oh, okay. So he didn't lose his millions or billions, whatever he had.
Yeah. So the guy who created Napster ended up going and working with the bloke from Facebook.
Gotcha.
And the reason I know that is because it triggered a memory from the movie, okay, the movie about Facebook, okay, and the guy who created Napster was played by Justin Timberlake, and that's how I saw the image in my head, and that's how I knew, you know. But here's something interesting.
Yeah, I never watched that movie.
Good movie, very good, mate. Propaganda is very good. if it's done well. Okay, if you take the concept that you're going in there, this is going to be entertaining and not informative.
Yeah.
You can really quite thoroughly enjoy some really good movies.
Yeah. Okay? But you gotta know if you gotta just.
Everything has a slant.
Yeah,
Everything has a fucking slant. Okay,
Yeah.
I mean, shit. You don't watch a fucking nature documentary without the fucking Peter mob coming in. Speaking of fucking stupid ass fucking environmental moms, all right. That fucking my wife said to me the other day, and I swear to God, I love my wife, but I almost ripped off my sock and ran down her throat. She turns around and said, I would happily give money to Sea Shepherd, and I said, I want a fucking divorce. I said, I don't give a fuck who you want to donate money to, providing it's not a terrorist fucking organisation. All right? That fucking long-haired hippie cunt on the Sea Shepherd, all right, that he is a fucking terrorist.
Yeah.
He will tell you, I am an eco-terrorist. The fucking name's in it. He should be in jail. Look, give money to the World Wildlife Foundation Conservation Fund. Totally for that. Totally giving money to aspirations that are good, that do good things and help recover. Not a problem. Okay, but I am not going to give money to a terrorist fucking organisation. I might as well give my money to ISIS.
Yep. You're very true. Me, I don't donate money. I like to give it to people I know or people that need it. See, I know most of those donation places, the money don't go to the people to help them. 90% of it, 97% go to the CEOs and stuff.
The only ones that, the only good organisation in Australia left in relation to wildlife stuff is the RSPCA.
At least there's one.
Okay, I don't know if you, because they do have a lot of conservation funds and everything out here, but a lot of them are money makers. All right, where the RSPCA are, do you have an RSPCA in Canada? Royal Society for Prevention of Cruelty to Animals.
We have something cruelty to animals, but I don't think it's called that.
So they operate a lot of animal shelters, a lot of free veterinary clinics, a lot of, if your cat's injured, you can bring it in. We still have to charge you a little bit, but we're not going to charge you.
We have an SPCA, but see, the thing is about them, if you bring your cat there or you find a cat, bring it there. There's so many, they put them to sleep, so it's better to find a home.
Yeah, so out here in Australia, we're really lucky because whilst we do have that situation happen, that does happen, our organisations, they do a lot of advertising to rehome. Like, they do a lot of advertising.
That's awesome.
Okay, and I'm in Sydney, all right? Okay, I'll go onto my Facebook page, for example. I don't get on Facebook much, but when I do go in there, I'm in Sydney, okay?
There is people that do good on like, in different things. It's just there's lies at every level, you know what I mean? The higher you go up, it's just a different lie at each level. But the people do want to do good, of course. Like, same with politicians. Some people get in there to try to do good, but there's lies at every level.
Absolutely.
He doesn't know what the top's doing,
Well, the bottom never knows what the top's doing.
Yeah.
It's fucking insane.
Yeah.
And the problem is that you just don't know. Wow. I just got an email. One of our major deputy political leaders through the 80s and the 90s just died, like literally 10 minutes ago.
Oh shoot.
Yeah. So that's pretty fucking. That's not good. That puts a kind of downer in a bit of things. He was a good bloke. His name's Tim Fisher. He was a good deputy PM. He was a Labor man.
Fisher.
He was a Labor man. Okay, very, very solid, very, very solid leader.
Maybe I heard Max Egan talk about him.
Yeah, very, very solid leader. It's interesting. It's interesting. We were talking about England. Before. We were talking about Brexit, and we were talking about that. It's interesting to note that England now, okay, and during the GFC, wouldn't have been in such a good position they were in if it wasn't for Margaret Thatcher. All right, and do you remember Thatcher? She was one of the most hated fucking people in politics.
Yeah.
Okay, England ended up fucking hating Margaret Thatcher.
I believe they're all puppets to me. They're just controlled opposition.
Yeah, but we're talking about the 70s and 80s here. If Thatcher didn't do what she did, they wouldn't have survived the GFC. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's quite fascinating.
You know a little bit more about it than me, probably, but yeah.
I know a little.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah, I know a little bit about everything. About everything. Oh, I try to know a little bit about everything. How's it going, MD? Is everything going all good for you in there? We've been doing pretty good. We've been doing pretty good today. We had a pretty intense conversation. Let me fucking tell you. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I need to have a nap after this. I'm using all my brain power.
Uh-oh. No, it was a good show today.
It has been a good show. It has been a good show. Now, I don't think we've got any. You got any questions? Is there anything you want to talk about? Because I'm sure there's shit you want to talk about rather than just listen to me pitch. Yeah, we finish off, man.
I did, but no, that's pretty much it. I did just the divide, and I wanted to talk about today, but I was doing some research before the show, but I didn't get the notes down I wanted to. Finally got it on your laptop, but a bit so choppy. Yeah, I tested it, MD. Everything was fine. I'm not too sure why.
Yeah, I'm running it on my laptop too, MD.
She had to watch it on her phone for some reason.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah.
We're glad that you're able to join us.
Yeah.
MD. Glad to be able to join us.
Great. She'll have to join us in a conversation one night, I hope.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I'd like to get her take on San Francisco and stuff, right? She lives in California, so.
Yeah, well, MD is going to be a very wonderful person to have come on and join us when we chat about San Francisco and how the libertarians and the liberal movement and the free everything except speech people fucking take over control.
But other than that, yeah, it's been a good show. I'm happy. I hope everybody else enjoyed.
Yeah, we're gonna have more. We're gonna be certainly looking at talking about different conversations in the future, and when we get a fair few questions in, we might even open it up to having conversations on topics that you guys want to hear us talk about, because certainly going to be interesting left, right, and center.
Yeah. We could even invite people in here one at a time. Like I could lock the room and people could knock if we want to have guests.
Yeah,
or something.
Of course.
Yeah, for sure. But I hope everybody likes the overlay I got today. Better than last week.
Yeah, I think we shouldn't be having any sound issues. So we're getting everything set up. So we'll all be up and running soon.
Yeah. All right, brother. So we'll end it here.
Good chatting to you today, man.
Yeah. And everybody have a good night. And thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next Wednesday on Casual Conversations.